Hello and welcome to The Seventh Rule with your stars, Cirroc Lofton, who was Jake Sisko on Deep Space Nine, and Aron Eisenberg, who was Nog, the Ferengi on Deep Space Nine. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and we are going to talk to you about Deep Space Nine. We're going to cover the Deep Space Nine world premiere documentary and who the guests are going to be there in Hollywood. We're going to talk to you about a little bit of Picard news, if there is any. We're going to cover the pilot episode called Emissary of Deep Space Nine because we're starting this whole Deep Space Nine rewatch. And but first, we've got. Oh wait, maybe I shouldn't show the. We've got a package.
Oops.
From our good friends. So I'll open that up in just a second, but while I'm opening that up, let's talk about the Mann's Chinese Theater in Hollywood that's going to be showing the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, which is an amazing documentary. I mean, it's really, really well done.
A little upsetting to me, but yeah, it was an excellent documentary.
The guests there will be the three of us, plus
Nikki DeBoer, Esri Dax.
And we're going to be doing some Q&A. And Aron just got a great news text from Levi, right? Tell us about it.
I did. So since the show at the theater is doing so well, they might have sold out, and now they're moving it into a bigger theater, their second biggest theater, which has 446 seats. So now I'm assuming by that message, more tickets are now available. Which is fantastic. And it's going to be so much fun. Cirroc's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Ryan's going to be there. Nikki's going to be there. And we're going to have an intro for the showing. We're going to be there for the showing. And then as Ryan said a few minutes ago, we're going to do a Q&A with all the attendees, everybody there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to tape it the best we can for our show here at the Seventh Rule. So that'll be a lot of fun to give you guys, the patrons, a sneak peek at our Q&A. You guys will get it first, and then a few weeks later we'll put it up, the whole Q&A up on our YouTube channel and on Odyssey as well, the audio version. So tune in, keep your ears open, and if you get this and you're in the LA area on May 13th, please try to get some tickets through Fathom Events to come out to the Chinese Theater to view DS9, the documentary. And I'll tell you, Cirroc and I were both in Birmingham when we watched it. It's great. They really, really did a great job.
You didn't watch it in Hollywood with us?
I did see it at Paramount as well.
Yeah, that's right. We were there, yeah.
And I think Cirroc avoided me that day. But that's okay. I had Melissa there to keep me.
That day or, you know.
Yeah. And it was really good. It was really good. And again, I honestly love what Cirroc had to say in the documentary. I thought he said some very important things. And I'm glad that they used them and kept them in there. And I thought Nana was hysterical. And so was Andy. Andy was great. So I hope all of you guys get to see it, whether in LA or somewhere else. It's a great documentary. They put a lot of work into it. And we will be there on May 13th at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. At 6 o'clock, we will be there, but the show begins at 7.
Pause that for just a second. This is a shout out to Josh Haas. Josh Haas, who sent us this. And this is the unveiling, the unboxing of it.
That is the biggest self-sealing stun bolt I have ever seen. Well done, my friend. Well done.
That's a self-sealing stun bolt.
So we now have a self-sealing stem bolt that you guys have been looking for 20 years.
Yeah.
We got one.
Now we just need a time crystal.
So here's this card. He included that in there. HaasLabs.com. HaasLabs.com. Might be backwards to you guys, but you see that there.
No, I don't think so. I think it worked out.
Thanks very much, Josh. And you gave us a nice long dissertation to read on our own time. Thanks very much. That's really
Thank you, Josh.
Let's finish up talking about the documentary. We all saw it. It was an A+ documentary. It's unbelievable. So please get your tickets if you're in the LA area. Come join us in Hollywood on Monday, May 13th. That's 1 week from today. Cirroc, you saw it. What do you think of it?
I saw it, and I've actually, every time I see it again, I see something new that I actually didn't really pick up on the first time.
Cool.
And I think it's just a great documentary. It's almost like an episode in itself, wrapped up into a documentary. So it's amazing in that way. I think they did a really good job. There's a lot of funny moments. I think Mark Alaimo has some funny moments in there.
He's awesome.
And there's just it just shows that all these years later we still have such a strong feeling of attachment for the show, and all of us have a bond of working together so long and in the trenches so long that the camaraderie is there. And that's one of the beautiful things about Star Trek as a franchise and as a TV show, is that it gives us the opportunity, because of conventions, to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely,
and to kind of reignite those friendships and to keep it current and catch up with each other and in how we're doing in our lives. So that's one of the real blessings of being a part of this franchise, is that we get to celebrate the success of the show many years after the shows has gone off. So
I feel like it's gotten a resurgence of success. The sales and the interest in the DVD have been phenomenal. They've been great. Everybody really wants to get out there and see it. And as the theater has to move into a bigger theater because tickets are selling for it, it's
awesome.
Wonderful. And I think Netflix and the fact that the way we watch shows over the years has changed to benefit our show a lot. And I think our show has found a lot more love now than it did back when it aired on TV. And people are realizing, wow, this was really a good show. It was well done. It was well told. It was a lot of important stories, as you mentioned in our previous little show we just did, the philosophical ideas and elements it put forth in the show, especially in the pilot that we're going to talk about. That it set a tone right away for that. And a little offshoot on that, I was watching that and I was thinking how people at the time would say DS9 isn't Star Trek. And when I watched Emissary, this is probably the third time I've seen it, I find new things, as you say, about the documentary. And in that whole thing, when he's in the wormhole, I think I paid attention more. And then I started saying, this is so Star Trek. And I was like, wow, how did people miss that in that pilot? They always say the first 2 years, but we came out of the gate with those elements. And especially with, you're going to destroy us. No, I'm not here to destroy you. I'm not your enemy. Little things like that, as well as when Sisko goes on that journey through all the characters of his life that become the wormhole alien or / the prophet, depending on how you look at it, speak to him through, right? And
right.
I have to say, you did really a fantastic job in that, being so young and recognizing what you were really doing in that, in those scenes. I thought that was really good. But he was so philosophical in the things that he was saying, and it was pretty great. And the questions they were asking him.
So that's a great segue into what this show is going to be about. We're going to cover this pilot episode. We're doing like a rewatch where we are going to watch every single episode week by week, and every week we're going to be covering an episode. So this first one, obviously, we're doing the pilot, but just to put a final button on the What We Left Behind documentary.
Did I jump?
That's okay. Personally, I can tell you that, as just a fan and not a person that acted in the show, I can say that I watched it after 2 hours. When it ended, I could have totally watched another 2 hours. Like, I was completely gripped, enamored, entertained. I could have continued to just sit there and soak it up and relive it and hear about it and listen to the interviews. And that's really the highest praise you can give a documentary. So I do hope that everybody goes out, gets their tickets, especially if you're in the LA area. Come check us out.
And one other thing I want to add to that, Ryan, that I think is cool, is that the fans will have an opportunity by watching the documentary to really get inside of the writer's room.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody's seen that. Actually, the first time I got to see how the writers communicate.
Same.
Yeah, so to see how they communicate with each other, how they strategize for story arc, how they come up with ideas, how they bounce them off each other, I think is really an insight to being there, present in the room. Now, I know it's obviously edited for the purpose of the film, but I've never had an opportunity to really feel like I'm inside behind the scenes and watch how these ideas make it to the chalkboard.
And the chalkboard isn't a metaphor. There literally is a chalkboard with all their stuff.
Yeah,
and
so
cool. There was one. I won't say it here because let's wait till at least after May 13th to talk about specifics. But there was one character that really wasn't mentioned in very much in their season 8, their fantasy season 8. But if you watch the documentary closely, you see that character's name, trying not to make sure it's not male or female, on the board. And I remember asking one of the writers about that, and they're like, yeah, we had a plan. We had a plan, not just for the first episode, but continuing. I'm like, because we didn't see this character. And so it was really cool. But I don't want to say who it is. But
no, stay tuned.
I did notice it on the board.
Stay tuned for that. And we're going to try to record our Q&A for the patrons that we have on our Patreon account. So also you guys stay tuned for that. And with that, let's move on to, is there even any Picard stuff to talk about? They've been filming for about 2 weeks now up in Santa Clarita. We'll keep you updated on that. Let's move on to
I know Emissary. I didn't get a phone call. Did you get a phone call, Cirroc?
Not yet, but I have to check my other phone.
So Emissary, personally, I think Deep Space Nine is still the best written series in all of Star Trek. And I think that Emissary is still the best pilot episode.
Really?
Yes. Best written.
Why do you feel that?
I mean,
put you on the spot, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too, it's not that it wasn't easy to be better than the other pilots, but that's part of it. A lot of the Star Trek pilots have been, subpar, and it's taken them some time to really build up. This was the first one where it had very high, or it's the only one really where it had such high stakes. It had such potential that was opened up. It wasn't just here's a new crew on a ship. Mm-hmm. It was here are all of these different elements in this strange situation, in this strange point in time with different races and all that. I mean, it really was like a hotbed for storylines. As a writer, they were probably chomping at the bit thinking, look, we can do Starfleet stuff, we can do Bajoran, we can do Cardassian stuff, we could do kids-centered stuff, we can do, comedies, we could do romance, we could do war. I mean, it's just like the sky's the limit. And in that opening scene, the opening sequence with, the ship going down, getting destroyed with Lieutenant Commander Sisko and J.G. Hertzler as the Vulcan captain.
The scariest Vulcan ever.
And they also had a Bolian security officer. But that opening sequence was just phenomenal. That gets you hooked from the very beginning. So I don't know what Star Trek fans really, if they had a problem with that immediately because it didn't feel like Star Trek. I don't really know too much about that. But I know when I first saw it, I was like blown away. I was like, this is the best in Star Trek episode I've ever seen.
Just to touch upon what you just said there, and then hear what Cirroc felt by the beginning as well. But you just expressed how much potential you saw on the show. I remember hearing from fans when I started going to conventions, the opposite. It's not going anywhere. So what they saw is stuck on a station and not trekking to uncharted areas, right? So it's interesting how you saw something different than others did. I'm almost positive Melissa, my wife, would echo what you just said. those kind of potentials. And I thought they did a fantastic job of slowly bringing in all the pieces
and characters.
And it feel like exposition. Oh, hi, I'm the science officer. Oh, hi, I'm the Bajoran first officer. There wasn't any exposition. Everybody was brought in.
Yeah, with a flow.
Yeah, with a really good flow. And especially that little thief, I mean, that was probably...
Yeah, he was amazing. I think that what I thought stood out for me was the tension. Right away, there was this, tension. There was this terrible, tragic loss of life. So you start off on such big conflict and seriousness. So right away, it's like, oh, Sisko loses his wife. Oh, he's face to face with Picard, and really talking to Picard, I think, in a way that nobody had before.
Loved that scene.
And I think the way he challenged Picard really made him stand out as captain-worthy material, because we had never seen anybody, kind of check Picard in that kind of a way. Yeah.